Hello everyone, Nova here. I'm going to show you some of the stuff that I use for modifying my decks. A few of my viewers have requested this video, so I'm going to show you the things that I use for edging my decks. Basically, I use only Sharpies now. I used to do with this type of ink, but I wasn't happy. It's a very messy job. You have to do it with ink, and then after that you have to seal it with this varnish, which is very toxic. So after edging a few decks, I stopped using these inks, and I'm going to show you the result of the ink, how it looks. I have this deck to show you. You see how uneven it is? And it is messy because you have to use a specific kind of sponge. I also did with a metallic one, this deck. This is the Spirit Animal deck by Colette Baron Reid. Although I do like the color and the texture of this gold ink, but it is very uneven, and when you use it, it comes off. So I'm not very happy with the ink. It is difficult, it is messy, it is toxic, and it comes off easily. I do not recommend it. Although I know a few people, such as Don Michel, use ink and they're so professional, they do it so well, they have a lot of patience, which I don't have, and they do a great job. I have found it a lot easier to be done with different types of markers. Now, first of all, for trimming your decks, I usually use that trimming gadget that I'm sure you have seen. I will link one of Don Michel's Mod With Me videos because she does a lot better job than me, and it is better if you want to learn how to do it. She has a great video about that. I will link it in the description box. Basically, if I have a deck that is even when I measure it, meaning that all the cards have the same size, exact same size borders, such as this one, then you can easily use that gadget and then round the corners with that. It's like a stapler that trims the corners in a round shape, and you get a nice deck, such as my Nicoletta Ceccoli. Nicoletta Ceccoli is a famous deck. You have seen it probably. It has white borders, and I have trimmed it with that trimming gadget. But some decks are not even. The borders are not even. So using that gadget will be awful because it will give you uneven results. Let me show you my Enchanted Tarot. You know this deck, right? The Enchanted Tarot. There is also a newer version of it, which is called the Zerner Faber Tarot, without these borders, and it is a lot smaller. It is like this size because this is a huge card. So the borders are not uneven, but if you look, there is a very tiny gold line here, then there is a thicker black line, and then there is another gold line. So for me, it is really difficult to get that straight in that gadget. It is easier for me when it is such a precise work to do it with a good pair of scissors, which I'm going to show you how I do it here. First of all, I cut the two shorter ends because it is easier. And I cut right in the middle of the black line. So I cut this side and this side. I start with the shorter side because it is easier. And then when I have cut these two ends, this long side is a bit shorter now. So now I go there. And when you cut with scissors, you should not remove your scissors. Like you have to go, you see, in one go. You keep going until you're done. Other side. because I find it very difficult to get this type of precise work done with that gadget. This way I found it easier. And then if I see any unevenness, then I can go with this, because this is a very good scissors. Your scissors has to be really good quality. Then I trim a little bit from here and there. So I'm gonna also quickly show you how amazing this deck looks now. I have done all the cards. I first wrote here, you see, with a Sharpie, I wrote down the title of each card. And I decided to keep the edges sharp because I really like that. You know, all the older decks used to have sharp edges. And I find that really charming. And I think this will come back. I think in a few years this will be in, these sharp edges, because it's really cool. So, oh, and then I edged this deck with this Sharpie, with this one. It's called Winsor and Newton Promarker, and the color is Sunflower. It's Winsor and Newton, London, UK. winsornewton.com. I will put everything in the description box. I have a few different colors of these Sharpies. They have a thicker head, as you see, and a thinner head. And this thin head is very nice for edging the cards. It doesn't bleed, it doesn't sweat, it dries out immediately. It's quite easy. And you just have to pay attention and be patient when you do this. I do usually a much better job than now, because now to hold this under the camera, it is too close to my eyes. I'm a lot more comfortable if it's this far, then I can see a lot better. But it is very easy. So this is one type that I'm very happy with. And let me show you another deck. This is the Sufi Wisdom Oracle. You see this edging? It is done by this color. This is the same, the Winsor and Newton Promarker, and the color is C847 Cyan or Cyan, what it says here. Then I use sometimes Sharpies with a thicker head, such as this one. This one is Edding 3000 Permanent Marker. This is the name. And I have many colors of this one. This one is Edding 3300. You see, the tip is thick. These are really good, but they stink. So they are quite toxic. I use them only outside. I sit in the garden and edge my cards if I want to use these ones. So I use these thick heads for when I want it to bleed a little bit to the front of the cards. You see this dark line around the card? This is the Sharpie. This deck did not have these thin edges. I created these using the thick Sharpie on the backs too. But this takes a bit more practice to get an even job done. But it really changes the look of a deck. Look at this deck. with the dark edges that I've created. And these edges are not black, they are very dark green actually. So I edge it, and because it is thick, I also force the thickness to come on both sides, the front and the back, and then you get this type of thin borders on the front and in the back. So I use these type of thick heads for this purpose only. Let me show you the metallic ones that I use. I am very happy with this one. It's called Pen Touch from Sakura. So this one is gold and this one is silver. And this is how I use them. You have to shake it. Then it's best to first try it on a piece of paper. In the beginning, when you want to use it, you have to shake it a lot and you have to press it on the paper a few times so that the ink starts running. And then when you get this, that means that you can start working with it. And you just have to be very patient. Let me show you one of the decks that I have done with this Sharpie. Here, this is my medieval Scapini tarot. Look, it's such a nice color. So let me just put on one of these cards. It's not difficult, guys. As I'm saying, it is a bit, I'm not doing it in a comfortable way. Like, I'm not comfortable now. I'm too close. You just have to sit in a comfortable way, hold it in a comfortable way, and just rest your both arms on the desk and just be patient, but you get really beautiful results. This is an example for the gold one, and I also have an example for the silver one. I've done my animal apothecary cards deck with the silver one. Do you see? Gives such a beautiful result, and it can bleed a little bit. I don't mind it. It's like you really have to pay attention to see it. Like, I can see it now because I'm paying a lot of attention. It's like a really small dot here, but I don't mind it at all. It's not really bleeding even. You just can see it from the front, you know. Looking at the front of the card, you can kind of see the edges are done in silver, but it's not really bleeding. I hope I make sense. But look, you don't see any bleeding, right? It takes a little bit more attention and patience to work with metallic colors, but it's definitely worth it. Okay, let me show you these. These ones are also kind of metallic, like glittery metallic. See? It is very easy to work with them again. They dry within like an hour. This is one of the decks that I have done using these. But the only thing is that in the video, you never see the glitter. The glitter is really fine. I can see it myself, but I know that you can't see it in the video. And it doesn't come off also. Like, if you really sweat and you really rub it, you might see a little bit of glitter, very little. But these are very high quality and it's really easy working with them. So it's called Faber Castle, and this one is Shimmering Violet, made in Austria. It's carbon neutral. This one is Precious Green. This one is Glorious Red, but it's not red. It's more like a peachy salmon color. Although it has a thick head, but it doesn't bleed. These are the heads. It's just really easy to work with them because they have a thick head, but they do not bleed. These are the easiest one. It's really easy to work with these. If it's your first time, maybe you want to get one of these and edge a deck with one of these so that you learn how it works. And then you move to other type of markers. All right, next I have these ones that I'm very happy with. Schneider. It's called Schneider Maxx 130. All of them. Permanent marker. This is a German, yeah, made in Germany. The quality is really good. I have etched a lot of my decks with these, but they don't have a big range of color because they are not water-based. They are waterproof. It is a very special formula, therefore they don't have a wide range of color. They just have to have a few, like these, and I have a purple one and a green one, I think. That's it. Example, the Nicoletta Ciccoli. I have done the black edging with this, and it's very easy. I mean, it's easy. The heads are not, oh, this one is thick. The funny thing is some of them the head is thick, although they all have the same number. Some of them the head is thicker for some reason. See, this one is thinner, but they have really rich color. I have done my Kali Oracle with this yellow one. As you see, it's yellow. It's a bit warmer. It's like an orangey yellow. Very warm yellow. So let me show you how it works. And then you hold it like this for the corners. And then you can immediately put it in the box. They dry off immediately. Okay, I have two more to show you. One is this. This one is very good for coloring the cards, the images in the cards, like I have done with my Hermetic Tarot. I have used these Sharpies. It's called Identi Pen. It is made in Japan. They also dry off immediately, so you can even paint a laminated card with it. I'm not done yet with this deck. But they dry off immediately, so you have to pay attention. I have done only these cards. Let me show you another deck too. I have done the borders of this Marseille deck. You see, all the borders are done with these ones. This is a very simple Marseille deck that I painted the borders and also some of the images, such as this one. This pink that I've used here is this Sharpie, which I'm going to show you now. So I've painted inside the cards, like I've given this guy blue eyeshadows. I just wanted to make it my own, you know. And this is a very simple Marseille deck. It's not one of those precious ones. This is the Convos by AGM. It's this one. Okay, the last but not least are these Sharpies. So it's called Sharpie Permanent Marker Fine Point. I like the colors. They have a wide range of colors. That's why I really like these. I have never used these for edging. I have used them for painting the cards. And this is a precious deck. This is My Jean Dodal by Jean-Claude Flournoy. So if you know this deck, you know that this is a precious deck. It is from letarot.com. And I have done the purples. is this Sharpie, the purple one. It's like a, it's not purple, it's like a lavender color. I'm so happy with the way it looks. And it does give an uneven look because the cards are like laminated. So it does give you this uneven look. But I like that. That makes it look like it's hand painted. Well, it is hand painted now, partially. So this Sharpie gives you an uneven look when you do it on the cards. These ones don't. Look, these ones have a different formula. They do not give you an uneven look. Look here. But these ones give you an uneven finish, and you have to pay more attention. These ones, they dry off within like 2 seconds, 2-3 seconds, they're completely dry. These ones dry off immediately. The Identi Pen dries off immediately. The Sharpie dries off within 2-3 seconds. So you have to make a decision what you're going to do. Like for me, I didn't mind for it to be uneven. I even thought it adds to the charm. And also I thought the fact that I have 2-3 seconds to correct it before it's completely dry is also a plus point, because I am using a precious deck here. So I went out of the line a few times, but I corrected it with a Q-tip. I had a little bit of water here next to me, so I make the tip of it wet, and then I cleaned the part that was out of the line. But if it was this one, it wouldn't be possible. So you make a decision what you're doing. I wouldn't use these for the edging. You can definitely use these for the edging. So I hope this was useful, guys. Check the description box for all the information, and I hope to see you in my next video.